Welcome to our weekly Dox42 class. Today I'm talking about the SharePoint App Configuration. For those of you who don't know Dox42 classes, actually we just do a lot of educational content, no slides, just hands-on directly into live demos, and I will start from kind of scratch to not install, but I will generate a document with a new generated and created template, and I will show you everything you need to know regarding the SharePoint app. My colleague Johannes had a couple of weeks ago, he had a Dox42 class about the SharePoint app in detail, and now we are just talking about the configuration, so it might be a little bit more technical in this part. Good, then I actually switched my camera off. If you can hear me, please let me know it in the chat, or even if you have a question, just write in the chat box something like, yeah, the questions will be answered at the end. But just if you tell me in the chat that you can hear me properly and I can move on, that would be great, or just send me a message. Okay, that looks good. I see you can hear me. That's great. Thank you. Okay, then let's start. I just have the agenda slide for you. So I promise no more slides, just the agenda slide. What are we doing in this Dox42 class today? I will quickly show you the SharePoint app, just generate a document from SharePoint, and then I will jump into the installation part. So what do you have to do? And yeah, what do you have to configure in Azure Active Directory, Admin Center? And then I will start with a template, because you will get the package with a sample template. So I will show you the sample template, and then we add some data. And of course, I will show you everything which is very important for you. And then we will configure a call directly with the SharePoint app in SharePoint, and hopefully it will work properly. So let's jump into it. I promised we don't do any more slides. We go into hands-on into the environment. So here is a SharePoint site. It's our employees list. That's an employees site here. And you see there are 4 sample employees included. And what do we want to do? We just would like to generate a employee list with selected employees. So I select Angela, for example, here, and Claudius. And now I would like to generate for these 2 employees an employee list. And what I can do then, this is our new SharePoint app here. There is an action button, and here you see predefined calls, action calls from Dox42. There are different ones. In this case, it's just a return action, open a PDF. Then there, of course, we can generate reports and PowerPoints, whatever you like, all kind of Office formats. And yeah, there are different output actions configured. I just quickly show you the return action. So I click here on open PDF. Now the document will be generated. We have a template, a Word template. The information from this site will be included, and of course from Angela and Claudius. And I get my employee list here. I open it to show you how it looks like. So I have Angela here with the progress bar, of course, barcodes and so on, and I have Claudius Cloud. So this is more or less what I would like to do. I will do a little smaller version of this kind of employee list. So you have to apologize to me. My neighbor is, I'm sitting in home office, and my neighbor is doing some construction. He's changing all his windows. So if it's getting a little bit loud, please apologize for that. Good. So what do you need to know? The first thing is you get the SharePoint app. You will get it directly in this kind of folder here. I open this one. So you see this is the SharePoint app. There is a documentation, of course, included. And this is the sample template I was mentioning before. So we will have a closer look on that a little bit later. But first, I will open the documentation. And the documentation, I actually have it open yet. So open here. There is some information how you configure all your Azure Active Directory stuff for Dox42 Online. I cannot cover this part now in this webinar. This would be another webinar. Or if you have questions regarding Dox42 Online and Azure Active Directory integration, please let us know, and we will help you and do another meeting with you. But what you need to know is we have to add this in our Azure Active Directory app registrations. We have to add this SharePoint Online Client Extensibility application, and this is done with the PowerShell command. So here you see the commands. Just do this with your PowerShell, and then this extensibility app will be added to your app registration, to your apps. So it looks like this then. Sorry for that. It looks like this then. You see here, there is your new added extensibility app then. And this is the Dox42 Online app I mentioned before. So you have to register one app for your Dox42 Online service first. This is done here. You have to add redirect URLs. So it is covered in the documentation, of course, but as I said, if you have any questions regarding about that, then just tell it to us and we will help you. And there is our Dox42 Online service panel. This is where you also configure then all your app IDs, tenant IDs, the client secrets, and you're configuring your SharePoint URLs where the template are stored, the trusted template location. So this has to be done. It's highly secured then. So your full user impersonation will then be allowed to generate the documents. Good. Let me go back here. The most important thing, so I go back to the documentation. You see, this is what you have done with the PowerShell, and then we have to expose an API for the online app. That's very important because after that, we can grant the consent that the app is allowed to use the Dox42 Online service to generate the document. So this is done pretty easy. You see it here in the documentation. You just have your online app here, and then you go on Expose API. And then you can just add one here, and then you have it here. That's done. Then you can add a scope. So it is actually completely clear here in the documentation documented. So just do these steps. And after you have done this, you go back to your new added extensibility app here, and then you just have to grant the consent. So you go to API permissions and you say add the permission. And after you added the scope, first, then you can look for your search Dox42 Online, for example, and just add the scope and grant the consent. This is exactly the scope we were talking about. So that's actually two steps. This step one, step two. This is exactly what I was telling you before. Then you add the scope, and then you can upload the SharePoint solution. This is included in the folder you will receive, and you do it in your SharePoint admin center, and there is the apps button. You open it, and then you see if you go there, and here you can add apps, and there just uploaded it here. Click on new, upload the app, and please be a little bit patient. Sometimes it lasts a little bit longer, like 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes or something, until Microsoft has included it. Just be patient in this case. So after you uploaded your app, you have to decide where do you want to use the app. And we, for example, just using it for our employee sites. So we have it here in employees included. You see the button. So you just go there, click on new, and you can add then the app. So let me open this one. This one is already added. So you see this is the command extension Dox42 app. And if you insert it here then for the employee side, then the buttons will appear. And after you have done that, please just do me a favor, click one time on the button. And after you clicked on the button, then there will be a new list added. And that's our command config bar list. And we need this list to configure our Dox42 calls. So we have it here in our favorites, but also you will find it in the site contents. So I click here on site contents, and you see there is a new list, the Dox42 command bar config list. And this list is very important to configure the Dox42 calls. So I open this one quickly so you see how it looks like. And it's just a standard SharePoint list. And we have some, you see the list names here are the employee list, that's the open PDF list. This is the button which the action we clicked before. And here you can add your action as you require. You can name them as you want. So you're completely free. We will add a new one, but first I will show you the template configuration. Okay, I hope it is clear so far. So the installation is completely documented. Of course, you see I just went quickly through it. Here's the SharePoint part, and you have to add it here, and then then we will follow with the configuration part. Good. So let me go back to my desktop. So as I said, this is the app which you will get delivered, and there is this little template included. And what we also have is we have an Excel file included, the connection Excel file, and we highly recommend using it. It is also in the documentation documented, of course, so you can read all this data from Azure Active Directory, all the application IDs, and so on. You can read it dynamically and integrate it dynamically, and that's definitely better than just copy paste it all the time. So you see, you can add then your site link, your site, and your URL. You need to add your Azure ID, tenant ID, of course, the application ID, and so on. Everything what you get after you registered the Dox42 Online app, and also the server client key. But we recommend not using an Excel file. Of course, we have a crypto data source. Please use the crypto data source just for security reasons. But we'll cover it in this webinar, but maybe we'll make another class, then I show you how it works with the crypto data source. Good. So this is what you get from us. Also a data map and a sample template. The sample template is very standard. It's just one data field. I included the ID data field, but you have to use your own data, of course, or your own site link, and have to integrate it then first. So after you get this, let me quickly copy this one, and then I start from scratch with a new one. So I open this one and open my template here, the sample template. Okay, I will delete everything of this here because this is what we're doing now. So, and there is our Dox42 add-in. I just made a Dox42 class a couple of weeks ago about the Word add-in. So if you have seen this one the first time, the Word add-in, the Dox42 add-in, please have a look in my class. There I will cover everything from scratch, from download to the add-in until to everything you need to start with your documents. So please have a look at this. I don't cover this I don't cover everything right now in this class. I just quickly open my data map designer and this, and I will delete everything of this because this is what we're doing right now. So let me delete this one and this one. So perfect. Yeah, we have a new version. As you can see, it's the version 4. Let me quickly see. It's the version 4.20. There's a number 5 right now, I guess. So it's online from today. So please download it. Use the newest version. We have pretty cool new features included. Also, what helps you a lot with the SharePoint connection. So plus, please do it. It just lasts a couple of minutes. Just update your version. If you never have downloaded it before, then if you download it, then you have the actual version, of course. Good. The connection file is already connected. This is where I read all my Azure Active Directory information dynamically from the Excel file, and I would like to connect to my SharePoint data. So I call this one amp list class, for example. And the site link, I will include my site link directly from the Excel file. So I click here on the ellipsis, and I will get my connection file here, and then I can read my site link, my SharePoint site link dynamically. So I will use this one. Let me open it quickly to show you. I quickly open the Excel file so then you can see how it looks like. Here, this is my Dox42 test SharePoint employee. So here, this is the site link right now. I read dynamically. And of course, there's my URL, my tenant IDs, and so on. Everything is included here in the Excel. So good. Then we don't use username and password in this case because we use Azure Active Directory impersonation. So we have to click on the Office AD configuration, and now we read all the information from the Excel file. You have to do this once, just include it once, and then you can clone data sources so you don't have to enter it all the time if you connect to, if you want to add a new data source. So that's the URL. Then I need the tenant, Azure tenant. So use our Excel file. It's very highly recommended, and add your tenant ID into the Excel file, and then you can use it directly. Then we need the app ID, the application ID, the redirect URI for the add-in. So it's called redirect desktop. Then there is again the application ID. It's the same for both, for the add-ins and the server. We just need the redirect. That's the Office Dox42 Online URL. That's this one. And the client key, I take it from the Excel. As I said, use a crypto data source. I just take it from the Excel in this case. Click OK. Then I click on Connect. And now I'm connecting to my SharePoint list, a site actually, to my SharePoint site. And you see there is the list, the employee list, for example. There's a dropdown, and I would like to connect to my employee list. I test this one. That's always important to test, to see there is the data. Perfect. That's the name of the data fields, and here is the data. Good, that worked. Then I click OK, and now I added my new list here. And our SharePoint app expects a JSON. So you can select your, as we see, I've seen it in the beginning in the demo. You can select your items and then generate the documents based on the selection of your items. And this is what we have to configure within the add-in right now. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So what I need for this is an input parameter. Of course, that's always standard, and I call this one item ID, for example. So just you have to remember this one, because this is what we need exactly. The item ID name do we need then in the configuration from the for the Dox42 calls. Here I can add a comment, select your then there is the possibility, this is also a new button here, because as I said, we need in JSON. I click here on a ID's default sample, for example, so then you have a default value here and you don't have to add it again all the time. And if you want to test it in the add-in, you can use this default value. So just click the button here, and then yeah, you also can change them if you want, but I just leave it with 1, in this case 1, 2, 3. And that's it. I added the input ID, input parameter, and what I would like to do now is I have to add an Excel JSON data source which understands this the JSON from the input parameter and converts it then to the clear text, the clear ID for the SharePoint item IDs. So let me add a JSON ID, JSON data source. I call it JSON, for example. You just select here, get the information from your input parameter. So you can click here on insert data field. That's my input parameter. So now the information will be included here. And what I would like to do, and this is a new feature as well with the new version. So please, as I said before, download this one. Otherwise, you have to do it by your own with the older version. So just click here, initialize the IDs from Dox42. And then you see the element ID will add a new data field. It's called ID. So if I test this one right now, you will see the input parameter default values 1, 2, 3 will be listed here then as normal data fields 1, 2, 3. Good. So this is what you have to do. And there's one more thing. Now we have to add the filtering to the SharePoint. So we need to filter this ID with the SharePoint ID. So then we get the 3 IDs from SharePoint listed in our document. So what we do, we open our SharePoint list, SharePoint data source again, and there is the query button. So this is where you can add your queries with SharePoint. I say ID, that's the data field ID from SharePoint, that's numeric equals, and now I select the data field, the JSON ID data field. So this is the correct filtering. Then I click OK, and now okay, of course here, okay, I can close this one and save. And now I configured everything correctly, and I will add some data from SharePoint now. So I will say, let me say the ID is good, and the name of the employee is good as well. And I will highlight this one here, and I will add an automate range. So all the 3 items or the selected employees will be listed here then. So let me click automate range here, and then you say repeat for data source, but now you select your JSON, because we will repeat over our JSON data source to get all the employees listed. I click OK, and if I put the end text further down, you will see that then there is, yeah, then the names will be listed directly. So let me test this. I click OK, and here this is our sample. The sample IDs here 1, 2, 3, and of course you can edit them here if you want. So I want to have ID 4, for example. I generate this one, and now the employee ID 1, 2, and 4 will be listed here. Okay, let's change the name to title, then it looks a little bit better. And what I would like to add is just an image to show you how you can add an image from SharePoint. So the image is stored in our URL path data field. So I click here on this one, and I have to define this data field as image. So I click here on image, and then I can add a dimension here, something like this, and I have to add the directory. So where is the image stored? And this is what I find in my SharePoint. Of course, I just need the URL link here into SharePoint, because then the image is stored in employees and so on list. So I add this one here. It will be looked up then in the SharePoint library. I click OK. And here the same thing. I would like to add a automate range, because I want to have listed all the images for all items I selected in the beginning. Good. This looks a little bit. Let's put it somehow. Let's put it so like this. And now let's generate this one. And what I do here now is I just select 2, for example. So of course you can just select 2 employees if you want. Selina Bentley, ID 1, Dr. Cloudy, ID 2, and the images are included. Okay, perfect. So this is just a very easy example. And what I would like to do now, I would like to use our SharePoint app to generate this document with our Dox42 Online service. So what do I have to do? First, I close this one here, and this is our template here. So I close this one as well. And the template is here included in now it's here, but I have to upload it to SharePoint, because we have our templates for our Dox42 Online service. Of course, it has to be stored in SharePoint. So therefore, I have a template list, Dox42 templates, and I upload now the 2 templates here. So let me click on upload. I select files, and where am I here in this one? Yeah, that looks good. It is here. And I just select the sample template and the sample template data map, because the connection Excel is already uploaded. So you see it here, it is already uploaded, so I don't need this one in this case. So I select just the 2 of them. But otherwise, if you don't have uploaded, please, you have to upload it as well. So otherwise it wouldn't work. Good, here it is, my sample template plus data map. That's good. And now what we would like to do is we would like to add a new action call. So we go to our command bar config. So you can find it in site contents also here. So let me go over the site contents way. And we will add a new call. So I click here on command bar config. And there it is, the new button. So here it is, I click on new. Just let us load everything. So now click on new, and now I can add a new item here. And I call this one list Dox42 Class, for example. So then it's pretty clear. And this is the name, this is actually the name as in the title. So that's that's the name of the action call. Then I have to add the list name here, and the list name is employee list in this case, because I want to generate the document from my employee list. Here I have to add our Dox42 Online service. It is explained here. Unfortunately, this one is in German, but I guess this could be in English as well. But you just need to add your URL, your Dox42 Online URL, and in our case, it's called Dox42 Test. but it is in your, I guess in your case, it's your company name .dox42.online. Please edit like this here. Then we need the client ID, and the client ID is in the Excel file included, or you can go to your Azure Active Directory. Let me go to my Dox42 Online app here, and you see that's, we're talking about the application client ID. So it's exactly this one. Let's copy this one to our clipboard, and then I can add it here. For those of you who generated documents already with Dox42, they might know this information. So you can select now, do you want to generate a document, a spreadsheet, or even generate slides? Of course, it works with PowerPoint, with Excel, whatever you need. And a lot of people are now requesting slides, for example, just to talk about that. There is a webinar coming up. So, but we will stick with the document here because I want to generate a PDF. I have to add my template location, just the path of the template. And as you can remember, the template is in my template library and it is here. So let me open the properties, and you will find the properties, the path to the template exactly here in the properties. I click here on the clipboard again, and then I add my template path here. Then I can leave the data empty. And this is the parameter, the item ID, the parameter, the input parameter I added to the template. And that's important. Then, as I said, you have to add it here exactly as you have it in the template. So this was called item ID. And then you just need the query string. And we recommend using our Dox42 test client. This is what you can download from our website as well to configure your REST calls. So it looks a little bit like the properties here. So you have to add the service URL, the template, and what kind of operation you want. And here there is the part, the output action part. So if you click here on the server documentation, you see there is different output actions that you can configure, our server, save action, SharePoint, and so on. I just want to do the return action right now. And you see then here that the parameters and the mandatory fields, what you really need. And here you see I need, for the return action, I need the parameter format. So I say here in my action, for example, return action parameter format, and I call this one Dox42 Class, for example, .pdf. And if I click on REST URL now, then I get a part of the REST URL. This wouldn't work, but I just need this one, this little query here, the last part of my REST URL, because this is what I add to my query string for the SharePoint app. I add this one here, I save this, and now there is my new button, my new action call is configured. And if I go now to my employee list, the first thing, sometimes, yeah, I have to refresh it quickly. Here it is, there's the button. And now I select Angela, I select Selena and Claudia's Cloud. And now I click on the button, and here you see this is our new Dox42 action button. I click OK. And now the document will be generated. It's not as beautiful as the other one, but yeah, we had very quick introduction. So this is called Dox42 Class. You can see it here. We open it. There it is. The 3 employees are included, and as well as the images. Okay, that was it more or less from my side. I just would like to tell you that we have some upcoming Dox42 classes. Next week, as I've mentioned, Lisa, my colleague, will do the PowerPoint add-in from 0 to 0. She will show you the new functionality. We have a new format painter as well included in our new Dox42 version. So don't miss this one as well. Johannes, my colleague, will do the Excel webinar from 0 to hero, and we will talk about the group calculator in the add-in. So there are pretty cool stuff upcoming. So just register here. You can see there's the barcode if you want. And that brings me to my last slide. So if you visit our website, of course, if you have any questions, send us an email, send it directly to me, and I would really very much appreciate your feedback, of course. You can also request a free trial. So if you have any questions, then just tell me now. Otherwise, you can send it via email and let me see if there are any questions. That looks good. Okay, everything is clear. Perfect. Then thank you very much and have a great week. See you in the next webinars. Bye bye.